Luxury? Massive. Jack and Rose? Necklace? Iceberg? You know the story of the Titanic, a tragic accident claiming hundreds of lives. But was that really an accident? What if I told you the whole act was to cover up a dirty secret at the cost of innocent people's lives? If you're ready for some hard truths, let's dive into the video. Join us as we dive into the behind-the-scenes secrets of the Titanic like never before. On the 12th of April 1912, the Titanic set out for its first and last voyage, but it was short and 1,500 lives were lost. The tragedy has been retold over and over in books and movies, but was it really the Titanic that went down? To know the whole story, we have to rewind a bit to 1911. The ships, Titanic, Britannic, and the Olympic, were owned by the shipping company, the White Star Line. This story starts when Olympic had a collision with HMS Hawk in September 1911. The Olympic suffered severe damages, including a triangular hole several meters high and an even larger hole below the waterline. As the accident involved the Navy ship, a thorough investigation was done by the government. Of course, they found that Olympic was at fault, and further statements from witnesses left the ship with no other option but to wave goodbye to their insurance, which, let's not forget, was a whopping $5 million. White Star Line certainly faced quite the stormy sea with this accident, since it required the ship to be taken out of service while required repairs were made. Plus, they had legal expenses to cover. They were caught between the sea and the devil. So, the cunning minds of the company were looking for a way out. A devious plan was getting cooked in the greedy oven. Now it's time to meet this gentleman, J.P. Morgan. He had ties to the Titanic, since the White Star Line was owned by his International Mercantile Marine Corporation. Morgan was just one of the many individuals who conveniently fell ill and had to cancel their vacation plans on the ship. How unfortunate, or rather, how suspicious. It's quite remarkable how he miraculously recovered in just a matter of days and seemed in his best health in France. Their plan was straight and simple. Replace Olympic with her sister ship Titanic, then sink Titanic to get the insurance. Except for the responsible parties, no one would know about the switching up. But that's almost impossible, isn't it? Clearly people could tell apart the two ships. If that's your train of thought, take a look at this ship. How about this one? If you think these are two photos of the same ship, you're in for a shock. They are two different ships, Titanic and Olympic. As soon as the plan for the switch was in effect, the Olympic's floors were covered with carpet. It had tile flooring originally, and this would have alerted passengers and crew. People would have questioned why this brand new ship, which had never been aboard, was covered in footprints and beverage spill stains. The only thing distinguishing between them was that the Titanic had 14 portholes that were evenly placed while it was being built, but it had 16 that were unevenly spaced when it set sail on April 10th, 1912. If you're still not on board with this theory, here are the people who had built the Titanic in the shipyard and recently came out to say that the two ships were in fact swapped. They were threatened by the shipping company that it would be the last job they ever did if they told us so. On July 31st, 1996, an Australian man wrote a letter to the Northern Star newspaper. The section of the letter reads, "When the surviving crew got to the port, they were all taken aside and met by two men, one in a high position in the company, and the other man was in a very high position in the government. The government man read the crew the Official Secrets Act, explaining that if they told of the reason for the sinking or rumors of an insurance scam, they would serve a minimum of 20 years in jail and would never get a job when they got out. It's plain as day that the company, along with the authorities, covered up their insurance fraud with the innocent lives of hundreds. But, what do you think? Do hit the like button, and while you're at it, subscribe to our channel as well.